have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Here we go. Invincible.
Hello and welcome to round one of the Spec F1 Esports PS4 Elite Series here in Albert Park for the Australian Grand Prix. Here is where it all begins. 20 of the best PS4 drivers in this league will be battling it out around the streets of Melbourne for the opening round of the World Championship. My name is Expert, and joining me in the commentary box for today's race and throughout the entirety of the season, please welcome Ken Tenma.
Oh, thanks for that lovely intro there. Yeah, we're at Albert Park today in Australia, Melbourne, my hometown. 5.3 kilometre circuit, 16 corners and some very fast chicanes that seem to get a lot of drivers caught out. Those are turns 1 and 2 and turns 11 and 12. The main thing about Albert Park is that it is a street circuit. There are trucks, there are cars driving on it every day during the year, and it turns out to be quite a bumpy circuit, but not so much in the F1 game. They seem to have smoothed it out a little bit, but it's also very slippery because those cars are on it all the time. Hasn't been resurfaced in a very long time, since the 90s, and they're looking at resurfacing it now, so you can just see how much that bitumen has had driven over it in that time. I'll pass it back to you now, and let's go through the driver lineups.
So as you can see, for the Red Bull squad for the PS4 Elite Series Season 2, we have Aaron L3F4 and Toddson99. They'll definitely be one to watch out for during this season. They were a very strong squad, but so is the team right below them of Mercedes, of Plebs and Zach Krun. That is also going to be one to really watch this season as well. Both also Zach Krun and Plebs doing really well in Season 1 of the PS4 Elite Series. Taking out the harsh drives will be Geordie F1 and Miktolski. The Renault team will be occupied by VRT Shaplili and Bullet Boy, and I Contrast F1 and ILRT Sterling will take out the Ferrari spots.
And that's right, then we move into McLaren, where John Paulainen, our alternate strategy expert from last season, he's jumped into McLaren this year with Samu Pepito. Then we move into Alpha with Swaggy and Darren 11, two very good drivers there as well. The Toro Rosso's X Revolution and Dougie Falcon's 97. In the Williams this year, the dynamic duo of 40 and Crossy pairing up once again. They were in the F2s together. They've now moved into the Elite Series together as well. And rounding it out for Racing Point, VRT Josh and Spilly. So when I go through those names, that is an amazing lineup. Some of the fastest esports drivers you've got in Australia and around the world, all here at RaceSpec Esports today.
That's definitely going to be one to watch this afternoon, but as you can see now on your screens, we're going to head over to the main screen as the drivers are now heading out for their qualifying session. 17 minutes the drivers will have to set the fastest lap time possible around the Albert Park Street Circuit. But as yourself can tell, one of the drivers that race obviously in this league, what's definitely the hardest parts of the circuit and the trickiest corners to get through?
I think there's two chicanes that I spoke of before. There's 1 and 2 and 11 and 12. They're very fast, and it's quite easy to take too much curb there and get yourself caught out. There are a couple of other exits where you want to keep the car on the bitumen, the whole thing, because you can get some wheel spin and easily turn yourself around. So it is a tricky circuit. It's not like a lot of others where you can take a lot of curb. If you do take a little bit too much, it's not hard to put yourself in the wall here at all.
Definitely as well, and as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, 20 drivers here this afternoon for the opening round of the PS4 Elite Series, as the majority of drivers are heading through their final sector now to start their first run of qualifying. It's very packed to the final sector, so it might be a little bit tricky for the drivers to get some space. Obviously, they don't want to be catching up to the drivers in front of them to be affecting the end of their lap, but as you can see now, we're going to ride on board with Swaggy291 as he now starts his lap. He's definitely going to be one to watch for in this Alfa Romeo car as he now heads up into turn 1, up 8th here, 320 kilometers an hour, braking. You normally use a lot of curb on that inside and run it out nice and wide. You don't want to put all 4 wheels off the track either, but you want to take it away for the rest of this lap, Ken Tenma.
Yeah, that's right. He's coming through. He's probably not pushing himself at the very start of the qualifying, getting a feel for it. The thing is that everyone will mainly come out on softs. You want to keep a set of mediums, as it looks like he's going through. There's a lot of cars pulling over. It's very crowded on the track at the moment, which can be quite distracting. And he comes around the sweeping right-hander, and he'll come up to Lakeside Drive. Very fast part of the track here, and very nice vantage point of view from if you're ever at the track. You come right down here, and the cars do not slow down as they come through turns 11 and 12. And we see so many cars pointing the wrong way in the right-hand side of that wall there.
As you can see, he got through that left-right chicane though pretty nicely, but as he heads into the final sector now, under the Rolex board. He will go. Geordie F1 is the first driver to set a time. He sets a 1 minute 20.8 as now Toddster in the Red Bull goes to pole position provisionally, and 40 slots himself into P2 for Williams. But now, as you can see, Swaggy is going to come around the final corner. Will he be able to go to pole position? Nearly invalidated his lap on the final corner there. Where is Swaggy going to go? He's going to go into P4 now with a 1 minute 20.651. 1/100th of a second separate himself and Toddster 99 in that Red Bull. But Zach Krine is currently sitting on provisional pole position for Mercedes at the moment with a 1 minute 20.1, 4/100ths of a second ahead of Swaggy's teammate of Darren 11, currently sitting in P2. VRT Josh has now got himself into P3 as well for Racing Point. Contrast just slot himself into P4 for Ferrari. A lot of the drivers will be now finishing or completing their first run. Bullet Boy is the only driver at the moment that has gone out on the hard compound attire. Aaron is still in the pits at this stage. But it'll be interesting as well. We're not too sure what the weather's doing as well in this race. So what's the normal strategy around here, Ken Tenma? What's normally the ideal tyres to use and not to use around the Albert Park circuit?
So if we go for a dry race, you want to start on the softs. So all of these drivers will do their qualifying lap on the softs, and then there are two real strategies, which depends on how well you can conserve your tyres. Some people who burn their tyres up a bit too fast go for the softs to hards and pit around laps 6, 7, 8, and then you can stretch it right out to 10, 11 or 12 and then put the mediums on for the second half of the race. So that'll be a key strategy battle on the pit wall, that's for sure, as to when these drivers come in. And a lot of the time it'll depend on how close they are to their rival in front, if they're going to go for that undercut. So it'll be very interesting to see when guys pit and when they don't, what tyres they fit during the race.
As you just saw there, Samu Pepito, I think that's how you say it, has just sort of himself up into P12 for McLaren on that soft compound of tyre. All these drivers, maybe I need to point out as well, are using no assist besides the racing line. I do believe it is corner racing line you're only able to use. So a lot of these drivers are really quick in this league as well. So it's going to be very tight this season between the drivers. Obviously, we have a couple of drivers returning from Season 1 of the PS4 Elite Series, which Ken Tenma did covered broadcast for you guys. Darren Levin is still sitting in P2 at the moment behind Zach Krine, as there's now 12 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. A lot of the drivers will be coming into the pits now for a new set of tyres, as Spilly is on his lap at the moment. He decided to go out on the track by himself to get some free air, as it was very jam-packed at the beginning of the qualifying session. As you see, he had a purple sector 1 there, did the Racing Point drive, but unfortunately he ran or made a little mistake there through that previous right-hander, so that could have affected his time a little bit, as he's now about to head through this long left-hander under the Emirates board. He goes. You want to keep it as tight as possible normally through here to minimize the amount of track distance as he now heads into this very tricky left-right chicane. Very easy to corner cut, as he just did there, and has unfortunately invalidated his lap time, has the Racing Point driver. So he's going to be coming in again to put on a new set of soft compounder tyres. Currently his teammate is sitting in P3.
Yeah, quite unfortunate to invalidate there. Everyone's really pushing the limits already, and we've still got 11 minutes left. I expect a little bit of time to cut off. I expect the pole to be in that 1:19s as Zach Crichton's on an outlap again, along with Darren and Josh. So our top 3 are back out doing outlaps. Of the drivers that haven't done a lap yet, we have Aaron Plevs. Plevs is often late. He likes to leave it right to the end to drop a time in. Sterling is a newcomer, and Crossy is currently on an outlap as well.
As you see now, Josh is looking like he is on his outlap for Racing Point. He's doing a pretty solid job at the moment, is the Racing Point driver. Unfortunately, I don't know where any of these drivers are from. It'd be nice if I knew what region they were from or our country. But anyways, they now head... Zach Krine looks like he's about to start his second time lap. Normally, if you do, the smarter drivers or the drivers that have done a little bit of testing will know that you should select the softer compound or softer tyres given to you, so that you can do the 4 runs of qualifying. So if you do select the balanced, I do believe you only get 3 sets of softs and a set of mediums, but normally you won't want to qualify on mediums unless you are out of the top 10. You'll most likely start on a fresh set if you're down the back of the grid. But as you can see, that's Aaron getting out of the way of Zach, as he's had a couple of lockups already through this first sector. Has Zach Krine, that's 2 now, I do believe, through turn 1 and turn 3, but he now heads or is about to start his second sector through that right-hander. Very easy to lose a car there if you mount that curb. He's 1/10 up on his time at the moment, so he's looking. He might just slot into that 1:19 mark. He did have that purple first sector, as he is currently on pole position. He now heads through this right-hander, braking just before the wall slits out on the outside of the track there, but he now heads to this long left-hander. See what he can do under the Melbourne board. Goes the Mercedes driver. His teammate is currently down MP14 at the moment. That's Plevsy's. Set a 1 minute 20.9, so currently 9/10 of a second separate our top 14 at the moment. That's how close it is. It's actually top 15, 9/10 of a second, so it's going to be very tight for qualifying. It's going to be anyone's whatsoever. The majority of drivers, as I said, will be doing 4 runs as he now heads into the final sector. There is a Ferrari in front of him. Hopefully he does get out of the way. Won't get much of a tow, but he actually pits now to Zach Ryan, so he must have lost a little bit of time. He did, or was pushing very hard on that set of tyres, so wouldn't be surprised if he did invalidate it there.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a lock-up on the second last corner there, so maybe he's just realised that he can't beat that 120.1. I mean, it's that close now. You lock up one corner and you're not getting faster than that. So these are the limits that these guys are on at the moment in the tight time frame. As the track was quite busy, it is still quite busy at the moment. We've only got a couple of cars in the pits, so be interested to see how if these guys navigate the traffic. It can be quite distracting as 40 drops it a 120.06 and he's now provisional pole.
Nice up there from the Williams driver. He's now, he just slightly missed out on the 1 minute 19 mark. 6/100ths of a second he would have had to gain if he wanted to get into that 119.
X Revolution has put it into the wall. I'm just trying to see where he is.
Down through the start of the third
damage.
sector.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Toro Rosso driver, he will have to come into the pit lane for a new set of tyres. Unfortunately, he spun it around through the fast left-right chicane by the looks of it. Spilly has also invalidated his lap. He looks like he did start one, but unfortunately has invalidated. He's getting out of the way of a couple of drivers now. Geordie has just come out of the pits by the looks of it. Actually, no, I think he just finished his lap. So, as you can see at the moment, 6/10 of a second separate our top 10. So that is very tight in terms of time. So definitely, the qualifying won't mean too much, to be honest. It will definitely come down to the races. These drivers are so close to each other.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Bill Bullerboy's doing. He came out on the hards before, and now he's on the medium, so he's gone that harder compound set in his tyre selection. So he's clearly saving one set of softs for the end, and then maybe a set of softs for the race. So it's an interesting tactic. You generally want to go with those 3 sets of softs, like you said, but he's saving it all up right to the end. And Dougie has gone into the gravel trail. He's got himself out of it though.
Where's Dougie sitting?
But it's going to come right down to the end. It is going to come right down to the end. Yeah, Dougie definitely struggling.
So he's normally one of the quicker drivers in this league as well. He's really good at doing one lap times as well. So he's up there in the top of the leaderboard. So the majority of the tracks as well. So we'll have to see how he goes. He's coming into the pits now. I do believe this was his second run, and unfortunately he's going to have to put on another set of tyres, and unfortunately hasn't set a very representative lap as of yet. Bullet Boy is down in 19th at the moment on that hard compounded tyre, so he will be looking to improve on his time, as he most likely will at least go to the mediums, I believe.
Yeah, we've got Spilly on a lap at the moment. Just waiting to see what his second sector time is to see if he's up or down. He's currently sitting in 8th position for Racing Point, and he is just slightly up, so it's possible he can go faster here. 0.04 above his time. Yeah, bright orange helmet there of Racing Point, who will be Alfa Romeo Racing Point next year. We're not sure how that's going to pan out, but
backed out of his lap.
Of changes in 2021. Yeah, he has. There's a car just slightly in his vision on the left there in Alfa Romeo, but he's backed out, so he must have realised he's too far down to improve. Just looking at the other drivers out. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, X Revolution now, MP7 as well. He is on his out lap, so he's definitely going to be wanting to move up the leaderboard at the moment a little bit, trying to get probably up into that top 5 at the moment. Contrast doing a very good job as well for Ferrari in P6, but as it stands, as you can see, there are 7 different teams at the moment in the top 7, so that is very competitive. Well, it shows how competitive it will be for the constructors standings as well this year. We'll have to see how that goes, but still 40 currently sits on provisional pole position with a 1 minute 20.063. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, but I think that just drivers, as you can see on the mini-map on the right-hand side of your screen, trying to get some space or some clean air as they do start their laps now. Zach Crichton is around 400ths of a second behind the Williams driver at the moment in time. Darren Levin in P3 for Alfa Romeo. Then it's the 2 VRT drivers of Shaplili and Josh. In contrast, currently sitting in P6. Who was that, sorry?
Swaggy's 0.15 up, going through the second sector, so he'll be improving his position if he can hold it together in this final third sector.
As you can see, also Darren has just got himself onto pole position. The first driver now into the 1 minute 19s. The 1 minute 19.951 was the time the Alfa Romeo driver set. So now will his teammate be able to do the same thing, getting himself into that 1 minute 19 mark, into the top 2? Could it be an Alfa Romeo lockout as he comes up to the line now? Does Swaggy? No, he only gets into P6. He slots ahead of Eye Contrast F1. He set a 1 minute 20.363, so he's got a little bit of time. He's going to try and find if he wants to get himself into the top 5.
Whoa, that was very close. Very close. We have 2 cars in the middle of the track, Eye Contrast, and there was a Toro Rosso in the background, and they nearly took out a McLaren. It was carnage there. Eye Contrast struggled. He's hit the wall again. So I don't know if there was a coming together or not sure, but rejoining the track and nearly taking someone else out. Very interesting.
See, it's very congested as well, having the 20 drivers out on track for qualifying. This isn't the longest of circuits as well, so drivers are trying to get as much space as possible for their qualifying laps. As you can see there, just the amount of space that the drivers have between themselves, don't have much space available to them, so if the driver in front does make a mistake, it will affect them. Plevs now looks like he started a lap, but unfortunately invalidated. He's currently running, sorry, no, didn't invalidate. He may have made a little mistake because he's currently running in none. So will he be trying to even just get back to the pits, just chuck on a new set of soft tyres? Because he did. I do believe this is only his second run, if I'm correct. But now 40. Sorry, who was that just went up? I swear. Actually, no, Zach Crun, I think, improved. He did. So he now got himself back into P3 with a 1 minute 20.099. So he's improved on his time, but unfortunately didn't move him up any position from what he previously was. He's still sitting in P3, and 40 still sitting in P2. 3/10 of a 3/100ths, I should say, separate the 2 Mercedes-powered cars. Obviously, 40 being in that Williams. VRT Shaplili in the Renault, leading Bullet Boy. So currently the 2, is Bullet Boy and a Renault? So Renault's doing a really good job at the moment, currently sitting in P4 and 5.
He's finally strapped on some red boots and he's put himself into 5th position there, Bullet Boy, which is a pretty good lap at 20.1.
You see a lot of the drivers now will be starting or coming out of the pits for their final runners. There's 2 minutes remaining in the session. You normally want to head out around this time so you can get some clear air, but then also make sure you have efficient time too. Warm your tyres. As you could just saw there, Spilly unfortunately invalidated his lap time again. He did actually have a purple second sector, so he was looking on for a very good lap there, was the Racing Point driver, but unfortunately invalidated his lap time again through that second sector, through the chicanes. We've seen him do it a couple of times already in this qualifying session, so he may try and go again on these tyres. Who was that, sorry?
Spilly's 0.3 up at the moment. He's in 11th place.
Billy?
No, he's backed out.
Yeah.
He backed out. Oh, he must. I think he invalidated then because he was 0.3 up, so he'll be kicking himself. He was on a really good lap.
Try and find a driver that
Miku's 0.2 up. Yeah, Miku's on a hot lap. He's 0.2 up and through the first sector, so he could be on a hot lap as well here.
He now heads through turn 3. Goes the harsh driver, gets it turned in nicely. So does turn 4 is yellow flag on the main straight. Maybe someone has crashed. Hopefully they all get through there fine as he now is about to start his second sector. As you can see, he's 1/10 up on his time at this stage too. That right-hander gets to the apex nicely. Now you're going to keep it as tight as possible through this long right-hander under the Emirates board. He goes, braking just before the 50-meter board. Heading into that right-hander, gets a turn nicely, uses all the exit curb available to the harsh driver. Now you want to make sure you get your shifts, or not manual gears, your up shifts nice through here. Want to make sure you get it perfectly on the limiter. Don't leave it too late or too early because you will affect your straight line speed as he now is about to start, or actually has just started his third sector into this right hander. Gets it turned in nicely. Very easy to turn in too early there and push the car out wide into the wall. Into the penultimate corner he goes. He has a little bit of traffic in front of him. Doesn't affect him though. Looks like it's a Red Bull driver. As he now heads through the final corner, goes Miku, I should say, as he's about to move up a few positions. Where does this go? Into P6. He goes 4/10 of a second. That's how tight it is. Only 4/10 gained him over 10 spots there. That's a very nice job from the harsh driver. He's obviously the first of the harsh drivers. Geordie down in P14 at the moment.
And Darren is going faster. He is 0.14 up on his previous time, our provisional pole. And at the moment, he's going faster. So they've got some work to do, these guys behind him, if he can hold on to this lap. 0.2 up now. This is a great lap. Just very smooth. You can tell that he's very confident. Every corner looks smooth. There's no jerkiness. Using every millimeter of the track that he needs to use. We do have a couple other drivers moving around, but nothing significant. 40's in the pits. He's not going to improve. Chappalele and Bullet Boy aren't improving either.
Zach Crime
he's just going to set a blistering pole.
Does improve.
He does go quicker.
From 1 minute 19.7. That's pretty quick. Well, that's
what
Zach Crime can do. Comes up to the line. Where does this go? Into P2 now with the 1 minute 19.935.
Darren did need to improve to hold on to that pole, and he did. Which is very well done.
So it looks like Swaggy's now the only driver that can settle out, but unfortunately he has invalidated. So that looks like it is your Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Elite Series qualifying session over. Darren Levin will take pole position for Alfa Romeo. He will have Zach Crine in the Mercedes alongside him on the front row. 40-22 will come home in P3 ahead of VRT Shaplili. Nice job from the two Renaults as well, coming home in P4 and 5. That's definitely a very strong result for them. Bullet Boy obviously in P5. P6 will be Aaron L3F for the first of the Red Bull drivers, leading Miku in P7. P8 will be VRT Josh, the leading Racing Point ahead of Swaggy, Toddster, and Icon Trust will round out your top 11. Dougie Falcons only managed P12 in this. That's definitely, he will not be happy with that. He would have expected to be up at least into that top 10. Clev's just only managed P13. As you can see, he set a 1 minute 20.5, so that's around 7/10 of a second he had to gain if he wanted to get pole position. So that's how tight it is between all our drivers at the moment. 7/10 of a second separate our top 13, so it's definitely going to be a race to watch.
Yeah, no one going into the 121s. Everyone sort of around that, in that 120, so all so close to each other. And iContrast has that penalty. I think that's from when he rejoined the track and nearly took someone out. So the game has recognised that and given him a 10 position penalty and X Revolution with the 5. Those were the two cars that hit each other and were spun around. So something's definitely happened there. And they've been handed out some harsh penalties from the FIA.
So,
sure.
Was it 10 spots for Contrast? It is. So he's going to drop to last position here, is Contrast. So that's not going to be good for him. And X Revolution is going to be right in front of him. He'll be starting MP19 for the PS4 Elite Series at the Australian Grand Prix. But we'll be back with you shortly while we let the drivers now head over to the grid.
We are back. We're on the formation lap here in Melbourne at Albert Park. Race 1 of the second season of the Elite Series, and they go through their paces after a hot qualifying where the top of the field was separated by just over a second from first to 20th. Now, we just need to update you that iContrast has received a 10 position grid penalty and X Revolution received a 5 position grid penalty, so they are down to 18th and 20th respectively. Going through the order, we have Darren 11 setting a very nice lap there for pole position. Next to him will be Zach Crichton. Then Williams in 40. VRT Chappalele is next to him in 4th. His Renault counterpart Bullet Boy in 5th, along with Aaron, who put in a very good nice lap there to come into 6th. The next row of the grid is Miku next to VRT Josh. And we have Swaggy Toddstar rounding out our top 10. Dougie Falcons, a little disappointing down there in 11th with the Mercedes of Plebs. We then have Spilly and Geordie F1. Crossy John Palainen, who'll be near the back. I expect him to pull some moves out. A bit bit of a rabbit out of the hat. Then we have his teammate Samu Pito, so the McLaren's right at the back of the grid there. Extra Evolution is behind him, and rounding it out is Ferrari in Sterling and Eye Contrast. Back of the grid, the Scarlet McFerraris have a lot of work to do here today.
As you can see, a lot of the drivers outside of the top 10, those drivers being Plev, Spilly, Geordie, Crossy. So not Crossy actually, so Plev, Spilly, Geordie, John Polainen, Samu, Sterling and Contrast, they all opted to start on the medium compounder tyre, so they will most likely be going a little longer into the race than the soft runners, unless they do get front wing damage. But Extra Evolution and Crossy starting on that soft compounder tyre, but they will be on fresh sets of soft compound tyres, so we'll have to see how they go in the race as well. But also, normally you want to pit around that lap 9 mark on the qualified soft compounder tyre. Depends how long or how good you are with managing your tyres, but the drivers are now heading onto the grid. I want to get your predictions, your top 3 predictions here, Kentema, but just before the race starts.
I can't go past Zach Crichton for the win here, 40, and maybe Bullet Boy to jump into that top 3 as well.
So Bullet Boy's definitely going to be one to watch from that third row of the grid. He sits in P5 for Renault, waiting for the light sequence to begin as the final drivers now head up onto the grid, waiting for the light sequence to begin here for the run down to turn 1. Green flags have been waved. As you can see, the lights now begin. 5 red lights for the drivers for the Australian Grand Prix. And they are underway. A pretty long hold there from the race director. But anyway, they are underway. Dan gets a pretty nice start. Zach Crichton trying to get alongside him before he actually looks like he got a better start. Then the Mercedes driver of Zach Crichton. They all get through nicely by the looks of it. Zach Crichton has slotted back into P2. The 2 Renaults have had a pretty nice start. They're up into P4 and 5. As you can see,
the back.
Zach Crichton now trying to go around the outside of Darren 11. Heading into turn 3. They go. Doesn't get the move done, unfortunately. Darren defended that very nicely. But 40 slotted into P3. Shaplili, Bullet Boy, P5. P6 is Aaron. Josh has now dropped down to P7. Swaggy and Todd are going to go side by side. This is before the battle of P9. Swaggy doing a pretty nice job so far. He's just got ahead of the Red Bull driver, but there was carnage at the back by the looks of it. It looks like that was Geordie that's unfortunately gone to the rear of the grid, but this is all very tight for this mid-pack. As you can see, it looks like Crossy's going to try and go around the outside of the McLaren, heading into that right-hander. Was much deeper under brakes, and the Williams driver got a very nice move there. Done there, did Crossy. Plebs now got himself into P13. Oh, he's staying in P13 as it stands.
Yeah, it was a fantastic start. We have, if Samu Pitu got a really good start, and also off the line, I think it was Toddster or possibly Dougie Falcon's got a really good start. There's a Red Bull goes very wide at the back there. Yeah, Aaron very wide at the back, but Geordie and Extra Evolution came together coming out of the first chicane and
Dougie
right at the back.
Dougie just did a nice switchback maneuver there on Aaron L304. He baited it to the outside, but then swapped back to the inside on exit. Very nice move there from the Toro Rosso driver, but now the drivers do start lap 2 of 29 in this Grand Prix. 28 laps from main. As you can see, Darren Levin still leads the way. At the moment, he's managed to hold on to his lead. After the first lap, Zach Crichton's holding on to P2 at the stage, leading 40. Then it will be the 2 Renaults who are doing a pretty nice job still so far in P4 and 5. Then it will be VRT Josh, who has moved up 2 spots for Racing Point into P6. Is there a yellow flag? That looks like it's a McLaren of Samu, who's unfortunately spun around on the exit of turn 2. So he's going to, not too sure if he does have front wing damage. We'll have a look here. Doesn't look like it visually, so he unfortunately just made a little mistake there at the beginning of lap 2 in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, going very wide, Aaron. It's cost him 5 positions from his starting spot on the grid. And so he'll be kicking himself for that. As we see there, Toro Rosso going around the outside, trying to get a move done on Swaggy. Not going to get it here. They're so close through that high-speed chicane. And it looks like the Alpha is going to hold him off for the moment. He does have his DRS, not yet. And no, just had a little look down the inside of a few cat and mouse games, but he's going to hold that position. Darren 11 still holding the race lead as the Renaults get very close to each other around that last corner as well.
So as you can see now, the top 6 are starting to edge away. Bullet Boy had a very nice run there, heading on the exit of the final corner. He's going to slot ahead of his teammate into P4 he goes. So it looks like the 2 Renaults have had a little bit of team orders playing very early in this race, I should say. So now he is now swapped positions with his teammate into P4. Bullet Boy goes. He's going to try and catch up to the Williams in front of him of 40. 40 is actually right behind. Zach Crichton is now Extra Evolution down in P19s, unfortunately retired from the session. So the Toro Rosso driver unfortunately has got himself terminal damage. Will we see a safety car very early in this Grand Prix? It is only lap 3. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's just going to be yellow flags on that main pit straight. As you can see, Darren's actually pulled out a 1.1 second lead already on Zach Crichton.
I was very surprised in the previous race. We had a lot of carnage and there was no safety cars. So if we follow that trend, it looks like on the Albert Park circuit, the safety cars only come out if there's a crash in certain sectors, which is very interesting. So I expect maybe a few virtual safety cars, but a safety car here might be a little rare.
We're going to go back to this battle for P10. As you can see, Aaron and Swaggy just made contact there. Aaron was very deep under brakes, heading through the left-right chicane, and unfortunately, he did make contact with Swaggy. It didn't look like the Alfa Romeo driver gave him efficient room, heading through the second part of the chicane. But now Plevs and Crossy going to go side by side, heading through this right-hander. The Williams driver, obviously on that softer compounded tyre, so will most likely be able to hold it. Plevs very deep under brakes, heading into the penultimate corner. He's going to try and hang it there for the final corner. He does have that inside line. Crossy gives him nice room. They nearly made contact there, but they don't. They do get through there nicely. Good respectful driving from both drivers. Plebs will obviously have a nice toe on Crossy heading into turn 1. Doesn't look like he was able to gain enough. That was actually Swaggy very deep under brakes there. Looks like he's lagging around a little bit, so hopefully that doesn't come into play. But Crossy is going to hold on to P12. Plebs is now going to drop a spot to Swaggy. It looks like Swaggy's actually lagging a little bit here. Sorry, I apologize for that.
Yeah, Swaggy is struggling with the lag. He's rubber banding on my screen as well.
So as you can see, Bullet Boy, Zach Crichton and 40 are now in a little tight battle at the moment. 40 has actually got ahead of Zach Crichton, may I point out as well. So now the Williams driver gets himself into P2. Zach Crichton down.
Aaron has had some trouble. Doesn't look like he has damage, but he's lost more places, so he's really struggling here.
So the Red Bull driver's been bashed around a lot, at the start of this Grand Prix.
He's missing an end plate. He'll probably have to come in and pit. There's a 3-second penalty to Zach Crichton. That's going to be telling at the end of the race.
As you see now, Swaggy is still in that battle with the McLaren driver. Will there be the same contact as he just had? No, he goes around the outside of John Polainen heading through that left-right chicane. Will John Polainen fight it back? He's going to go back down the inside as the McLaren driver doesn't get the move done, though. Swaggy was actually deeper under brakes there, so the McLaren driver is going to have to slot back down into P14. Swaggy had a pretty nice start, but unfortunately he dropped a few positions after a little incident there with, I do believe, I can't even remember who it was now. It was Aaron, actually. So now, as you can see, Swaggy actually comes in for a very early pit stop in this Grand Prix, so he might have a little bit of front wing damage here. Does the Alfa Romeo drivers? That's going to move all the drivers up the spot that were behind him.
Yeah, Aaron's in as well. They'll be going under the hards, possibly trying to go to the end of the race.
So the Red Bull driver's retired.
Terminal damage. Yeah, he's just decided that that's enough. He can't come back from here. He's probably getting out of that car in disgust.
As you
did have a few incidences.
Starting to be a 40 train here starting to happen between himself, Zach Crichton, Bullet Boy, Shaplili, Josh, and Mick, who's trying to catch up to the back of the racing point, but unfortunately...
If we look, Jump to line is right all over the back of Sterling here. They were side by side through the previous corner, and he's still attacking him now. Comes right up the back here. Is he going to make a move? Not quite. He'll probably go down Lakeside Drive and then keep the DRS and make the move at the next right-hander.
He's going to have DRS.
So Sterling got a really good exit there, yeah.
He did have a very nice exit, so will he be within a second? He is just within a second. Here is the McLaren driver, opens DRS nice and wide here, but unfortunately won't be enough. Geordie's a little bit too far behind to make a move on John Polainen at this stage, but the McLaren team not doing a very, not going to be happy with their performance at this stage down in P15 and 17, so they're going to have a little bit of work to do in this Grand Prix. But these top 6 at the moment are still all battling.
What? Yeah, Bullet Boy's made up ground on Zach Crichton, and Zach Crichton's got that 3-second penalty, as we said. He's going to have a go around the outside here, is he? Zach's going to have to defend, locks up, switch back, not quite getting it done, but he's really harassing him, trying to force him into a mistake. Ooh. And this is a dangerous part of the circuit to be going wheel to wheel. Is he going to go wide? Is he going to hold on to it? He does. Wow.
Nice save
that
there
was
from
an
Bullet
amazing
Boy.
Save from Bullet Boy.
It was completely locked up.
That would have been extremely slippery and hairy. He may have to clean himself up after that one, because that was scary.
So one of them had to back out, but none of them did. But nice respect there also from Zach Crichton. He did leave the room, but unfortunately it's just not a two-way line through that corner. So, but one of the drivers had to back out, none of them did, so they did make contact, and Bullet Boy doing a very nice job there at saving that car. But now that's only Edge 40 a little bit. He's given him a comfortable gap between himself and Zach Crichton. Now he can fully focus on Darren Levin in front of him in that Alfa Romeo car. But VRT Shaplili is still right behind Josh as they now head through the final sector. See, Pepito is unfortunately disconnected from the session, so hopefully he can join back. You can see Shapili will have DRS on the Racing Point driver heading into turn 1. Didn't get a very nice exit off that final corner, so he's
Zach's in the pits.
Zach's
had
in the
enough
pits.
of Bullet Boy all over his gearbox, and he's coming to the pits early.
Chucking on that
Probably
medium
the right
compounded
move.
tyre. Trying to get out of that battle, but
He
I'm not too
was
sure where he's going to
good.
drop out into. Hopefully he doesn't drop back into traffic. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's going to be tight between himself and Geordie F1. Let's see where he comes out. He's going to come out behind by the looks of it. Is Zach Crichton? Say Samu's a little bit too far behind at the moment. He's just about to head into the penultimate corner. Is the McLaren driver. Darren still leads the way with 1.3 seconds between himself and 40 as they now start lap 7 of 29 of the Australian Grand Prix.
That's right, and Toddster's a bit of a quiet achiever here in the other Red Bull. His teammate's retired, but he's never really mentioned him this race. He's up in a P7 and he's just slowly catching up with the Haas driver of Miku. And he'll be able to make a move soon and get himself up in the 6th position as he's right over the gearbox now. He'll get DRS. Let's follow him down into this corner. He'll be able to get something done here. No, not quite close enough, but I expect that battle to continue on for a little bit longer. But we're getting in the window now where we need to start pitting. And people need to make some decisions now about if they go onto the hards or the mediums.
So I'm sure
you've
you'll
got to be thinking about that.
I'm sure like they're like, oh, he nearly put it in the wall there, did Todd. So got a lot of oversteer on the exit of the final corner. Will Dougie be able to take advantage of this? He's unfortunately a little bit behind. He does have DRS on the Red Bull driver. He's currently sitting at 70% ERS compared to Todd's 50%. He's still struggling with oversteer, is the Red Bull driver. So this is only going to edge Dougie a little bit closer to that rear gearbox of that Red Bull car. But as you see, also Pete has made that pit stop. So Zach, I should say, has made that pit stop in this Grand Prix. He is the first of the front runners to react, so we'll have to see. I do believe he did go on the medium compounded tyre, did the Mercedes driver. He's going to try and make a move here now. On Geordie is Zach Crichton. He does get the move done very deep under brakes heading into turn 3, but gets the move done on the harsh driver. It wasn't mucking around there. Needed to get ahead to maximize the performance on these tyres. He's going to try and undercut, I do believe, Bullet Boy and potentially even 40 if he does a very nice couple of laps here on these medium tyres.
Yeah, we saw Chapalele come into the pits as well, so the Renaults have worked this out quite nicely. If you don't have good communication as teammates, you can try and want to pit on the same lap, but Chapalele's coming a little bit earlier, giving Bullet Boy the opportunity to pit sort of this lap or next lap. We'll see what he's going to do. He's about to come round to the pits, and let's see. No, he's going to stay out, and he'll probably be staying out till lap 10, 11 now, and then going on to the mediums, I think. As VRT Josh has jumped into the pits, and this is this grey area where if you are good with tyres, you can go mediums from here. It's dicey, but you can do it. He's going to go hards.
Darren Levin opting to stay at another lap as well, but we'll have to have a look. That's actually someone in the wall. That's Bullet Boy in the wall now, heading on the exit of turn 2. The Renault drivers unfortunately put it in the wall. He's actually out of the Grand Prix, is he? No, he's still going.
No, he's ghosted. He's ghosted. It looked like he was out. He was just waiting to rejoin the track. Oh,
that's Zach Crichton.
McLaren and Zach had to go right round him as he was trying to rejoin the track.
As that little incident was happening there with the Renault driver, Zach Crichton did set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I'm not too sure what it was, but that does prove that he is doing a very good job at the moment. Welcome to everyone in the stream as well. Welcome Tyler. Welcome Skyron. Greetings from Poland. Well, thanks for joining the stream, man. Appreciate it. But anyway, a lot of the drivers now will be coming in for their first and only stop. I don't think any drivers will be making a 2-stop, I do believe, but as you can see, 4 drivers have made their stop, them being Zach Crichton, VRT Shaplili, VRT Josh, and Samu Pepito.
But 40 just picked up a 3-second penalty as well, so Zach and 40 both have a 3-second penalty that's just falling into the hands of Darren, who is racing away with this race at the moment.
So 40 now into the pit lane for Williams as well. Will we see some drivers follow him in? Dougie does stay out, but now Toddster in that Red Bull will follow him in. Spilly stays out another lap. He's going to try and do the overcut. As you see, Plevs nearly loses it through the final corner, just manages to catch it. He does have Crossy right behind him as well, but we will see Plevs out for a little bit longer in this race as he is on fresh medium tyres. So he's going to be one to watch towards the end of the race because he will most likely have fresher tyres, or a very fresh set of soft tyres towards the end of the race. But he currently has Crossy at the moment, who's also on fresh soft tyres right behind him. So he's having to defend from the Williams driver, as is Eye Contrast, John Pliner trying to catch up as well in that McLaren. Contrast doing a very nice job at the moment. I do believe he is up the most spots in this Grand Prix as well. He's currently up 14, but before the pit stops did start, I do believe he was up 11, so he's doing a very nice job from the rear of the grid. Unfortunately, we've had 3 retirements from the Australian Grand Prix so far, them being Swaggy, Aaron, and Extra Evolution.
So Bullet Boy came into the pits then, and he's put on hard tyres, but interestingly, he didn't change his wing, so I think he saved himself from wing damage, was just parked off the track until he could rejoin. So no damage in his spin, but it's cost him so much time, considering he was up in the top 3 or 4 for this Grand Prix, ruining my predictions. In fact, I don't think he can get on the podium from here.
So Darren now into the pits. Our race leader for Alfa Romeo has come into the pits. Will we see Dougie in this lap as well? He's got 9.7 seconds between himself and Darren. He's going to actually stay out for another lap. Dougie Falcons actually is on the fresh set of soft tyres, so he'll be staying out probably around 1 or 2 more laps. Will the Toro Rosso driver? Spilly's going to jump him as well, as he is on fresh medium. So is Plevs. Our Contrast stays out as well. A lot of these drivers that have not made a pit stop so far will be drivers that did start out of the top 10 on a fresh set of tyres for the start of the race. Now Darren's going to slot into P8, and look who's got ahead. Zach Crichton now has got himself into P7, so now he is in the effective lead of the Grand Prix at the moment. He's got a pretty nice margin at the moment between himself and the Alfa Romeo driver behind him of Darren 11. That's 2.7 seconds between them two, but obviously Zach Crichton's going to have to manage those tyres a little bit better, or a little bit more I should say, compared to Darren 11, because he is, or did pit at what lap? I do believe it was around the lap 7 mark, and now as you can see Darren on lap 11. So that's going to be interesting when it comes towards the end of the race. This could definitely play in Zach Crichton's favour. If there is a late safety car, he could chuck on a fresh set of soft tyres if he didn't use them all up in qualifying. But Darren's still got 40 right behind him as well, who is on warmer tyres. So will 40 be able to take advantage of Darren 11 on those cold tyres? And they now head into the second sector. About to start the third sector as they head into the left-right chicane. He will have DRS this lap round. Will 40, but unfortunately it doesn't look like he will get the move done. He got a lot of oversteer there, did the Williams driver. Luckily didn't put it in the wall.
Yeah, Zach Crichton has done it. He's got rapid pace on those mediums. Clearly he's done this before, where he does not like the softs and comes in early for the mediums, knowing he's faster. And he's not actually losing much time at the moment. Darren 11 having to defend against 40. There's more coming to the pits. Dougie Falcons is the last of the soft runners to come in, and he'll put the mediums on as well. We'll see where he rejoins the race. So just looking here, we've still got Spilly, Plebs, Eye Contrast, John Polinen and Sterling on those 11 lap of mediums.
Miku's off at turn 1, so now that's going to let his teammate and most likely Tots to get ahead. Miku ran way too deep on the exit of turn 1, so now Tots is going to try and go down the inside, but unfortunately it looks like Miku was much deeper under brakes. He's going to try and hold it around the outside of his teammate. He actually got that done. What a move there from Miku. He went right around the outside of his teammate Geordie, and also on really dirty tyres, considering he did go off into the dirt on the exit of turn 1, so that's a very nice move there from the harsh driver. He is now going to hold on to his P11, I do believe. There's 5.8 seconds between himself and the racing point of Josh in front of him. We're currently waiting for our top 5 at this stage to make a stop, them being Sterling, Contrast.
Geordie just got all out of shape there. He's held onto it, but gee, he's lost the position. He lost the position to Dougie Falcons. All out of shape, just coming off the end of that battle that you were commentating on between Miku and Beate Josh.
So Dougie just got a 3-second time penalty, as we just witnessed there. He cut that second part of that chicane, so that's just going to add to his bad weekend so far. I do believe he's now got 6 seconds worth of penalties, has the Toro Rosso driver, so that's unfortunate for him. But now Spilly currently leads the way. He is the first of the drivers to not have made a pit stop. He leads Plebs, who is 3.4 seconds drop behind him. Then it'll be Jump Line and Contrast and ILRT Sterling currently sitting in P3, 4 and 5. Then effectively in the lead is Zach Crichton. Look where he is at the moment. He's right behind Sterling, so this is not going to be ideal for him, because he doesn't want to let Darren catch up to him, so he needs to get through this battle back. As you saw Sterling there having massive oversteer through that right-hander of turn 4 rather.
Yeah, this is going to give a lot of benefit to Darren 11. 40 Chapelele can even catch up here as well. He's 5 seconds behind on those hards, but there's a lot of traffic coming up. Those Spilly, Plebs, John Polino, Eye Contrast, Sterling, they're not going to pit for at least another 7 or 8 laps at a minimum, and this is a lot of traffic for them to get through. This is going to really concertina the field up, and it's going to create a very exciting finish.
So it looks like Zach's got a nice run here on Sterling. It looks like he's going to try and dive down the inside. Very deep under brakes there. What's the Mercedes driver? He actually made contact.
Oh,
and
no,
he's around.
it.
Zach Crichton's around. He's made contact with Sterling. Heading into the final sector. And the Mercedes driver is around. And unfortunately, he's lost the spot to Darren and 40. Not too sure what happened there. Unfortunately, the TV cam didn't give us too much of a view. But now he's going to be dropping back behind Shaplili and Josh. So that's unfortunate there for our race leader. Zach Crichton is now going to drop all the way back down to P10. And that's effective, I do believe, P5 at this stage, so that's unfortunate for him. It looks like Darren has now easily got ahead of Sterling, so I'm not too sure what's happened there. Did you get much of a view of that content mark?
Yeah, I think Zach just felt the pressure coming from behind, and he knew he had to get past those cars, and possibly ambitious, but it was just the slightest of contact, a little wheel rubber, and Zach Crichton just sort of spun around, just lost the front end, and it's a real shame, but I think it's that 50-50 thing where you got the pressure coming behind, you have to get past the guy in front, maybe make a dive where you shouldn't make a dive, and he's paid the heaviest of prices. He's down in 10th position now.
So it looked like he did lock his inside front when he did make the pass. So I'm not too sure if that came into play to it any understeer, but it looks like Todza is feeling a little bit of pressure with Miku right behind him. He was having a little battle with Todster through the first sector, and on the exit of turn 3 was Todster and Dougie, but Dougie got the better of that little battle. Darren's now got that move 40. Done, and so is 40. So now they're going to move themselves up into P4 and 5 ahead of Eye Contrast F1, who is on that medium compound of tyres. 40 made a little error there. He got that right rear dipped into the grass there on the penultimate corner, or the entry to the penultimate corner. So that's cost him a little bit of time here. It will give Contrast a nice DRS toe and slipstream, but it has cost 40 a little bit of time to his rival of Darren 11. So this looks like this is going to be the battle for the effective lead. Darren 11 and 40 for the lead of the Grand Prix. You can see the amount of traction Darren just had there compared to John Polan as they now go side by side. Heading into turn 3, does John Polan fight? It doesn't look like it. So he's going to slot back into P4. 40 is now trying to get the move done as well. It doesn't look like John Polan is going to try and fight it. 40 does go around the outside there. I don't think John Polan was trying to fight that too much. He didn't want to get caught up in battles that he wasn't really in, but it looks like Contrast now is going to try and make a move on John Polan, and as he did make a little error through turn 5 there, did John Polan, but he's going to hold on to it for the remaining of the sector by the looks of it. Sterling is right there behind his teammate as well. He's going to have a nice run into this next right-handed. Tries to do the dummy move, filling up Eye Contrast's mirrors to try and put him off potentially, and he will be holding on to P7 at this stage. Shaplili still has Josh right behind him in that racing point. Zach Crichton has fallen off that little battle there. So does he actually have a bit of front wing damage? Because he was right behind Shaplili and Josh. So he may have a little bit of front wing damage here. Could the Mercedes driver?
Not sure. It's hard to tell. Very hard to tell. I think he's getting out of sorts, that's for sure. Maybe just driving angry, knowing he's made a bad mistake there, and he was in really the box seat for the race, so possibly just over driving at the moment, trying to get himself back into the race, but he's not picking up ground on Josh Chapalele, that's for sure.
We're going to go back to the battle.
Darren Lemming gets the move done on Plebs.
Will 40 get the move done as well? Looks like Plebs is just going to get out of the way here. He's running in a low ERS mode, just letting 40 and Darren continue their battle. He doesn't want to get too much. He doesn't want to affect that battle too much. John Polanen still sitting in P5 behind Plebs at the moment. Obviously, Plebs was Zach Crichton's teammate, so we could have potentially seen a little bit of team orders being played, but there's yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. It looks like a driver has unfortunately put it in the wall. That is ILRT Sterling now. He was right behind our contrast, so he was looking good for... he was at the back of the pack of the drivers that have not made a pit stop, so unfortunately Sterling has spun round, so he's going to be dropping down to P13. Now is the Ferrari driver, so he was looking good for some potential points in this afternoon's Grand Prix, but now he's going to have a little bit of work to do if he wants to get back into that top 10, and he also still has to make a pit stop off that medium compound tyre.
Yeah, he might have to pit stop onto the hards and finish on the hards, which would be a shame, because that's you're so close to that that soft tyre window, and he's not going to be able to do it now.
So I'm going to interrupt you here. Shaplili and Josh are going to go side by side, heading through the final sector. Josh and Shaplili trying to get the move done. This has brought Zach Crichton right back behind them. So this is currently a Racing Point versus Renault versus Mercedes as they now head into the final corner. Dougie Falcons is now got himself into the top 10. He's going to try and catch up to this battle. Shaplili trying to get the move done on Josh. He will not be able to get it done heading into turn 1 under the Rolex board. They go into turn 1. You can see Josh ran a little bit wide there, but he had very nice traction off that first turn. So it looks like he's going to be able to defend it. No, he's actually not, because Shaplili's going to have DRS and slipstream. He's going to go down the inside now. Is the Renault driver. It doesn't look like he's going to get the move done. They did nearly make contact there. Did Shaplili and Josh. They just marginally got away with it. Zach Crichton's still right there as well, so he doesn't really want to get into this battle at this stage. He doesn't want to lose any front wing or make any contact. He's just trying to bring it home at this stage and try and get some nice points. He has a very nice run here on Shaplili. Will he try and make a move into this next right-hander? He is. Not going to have any DRS, as this is not a DRS straight, but he will have a nice toe. He's going to try and go around the outside now. Is Zach Crichton, but as you can see, Shaplili did shut that door on the Mercedes driver. Nearly puts it in the wall there. Did Zach Crichton. Just lost traction there. Had to correct the car and saved it nicely as they now head into the final sector. Through the quick left-right chicane. He did cut that corner there, did Zach Crichton, but so did Shaplili. He's going to have DRS here. Is the Mercedes driver. Will he be able to get the move done? As you see, Shaplili just had massive amount of speed difference between himself and Zach heading through that right.
Up the front. Up the front, Dara's now taking the lead. 40 has gotten past Billy as well, and it looks like John Polona has taken Plevs, and Plevs is going into the pits, and Ikotos is following him in. But Darren's retaking the lead of this race. 40's not too far behind him. Spilly's going to keep going. He's doing a really good job on those mediums from the start of the race.
So Contrast also went into the pits with Plevs as well, but this battle still between Shaplili and Josh is going on. So it was actually Shaplili and Zach Crichton making a move there. Zach tried to go around the outside, I do believe, but unfortunately didn't get the move done. So he's going to be very frustrated at the moment that he's behind these two drivers of Shaplili and Josh. But as you said before, Darren has now got himself back into the lead of the Grand Prix. 40, 3/10 of a second separate those two. There's yellow flag in Sector 1. That looks like it's a harsh driver. I think that was Miku down in P11. I do believe it was. So I think he may have made contact there with Crossy F1. But we're going to go back to this battle because 40 has a very nice run on Darren as they now start the third sector. He will have DRS and slipstream down this next straight here. Will he be able to get the move done? He's going to go to the inside line. Darren didn't defend that very nicely there. So now 40 is going to have the inside line heading into the third sector. He's going to get the move done. Now is the Williams driver, says there's a change for the lead of the Grand Prix. Contrast now down in P14 has just got himself a 3-second time penalty. He is obviously on that fresh set of his compound of tyres. He has now just got himself ahead of Geordie by the looks of it. But we're going to stay on board with this battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Darren does have DRS available to him, but it doesn't look like he's trying to get the move done anytime soon, as he is running in no ERS deployment, so he's trying to save a little bit by the looks of it.
40 loving these medium tyres. He's got much better pace on the mediums than he did on the softs when he was chasing Darren 11 before, and he's really coming into his own now. And in fact, his tyre is 1 lap older than Darren's, so Darren's got a lot of work to do if he wants to win this Grand Prix.
So Spilly also just came into the pits this lap. He nearly made contact there with Miku. He just came out of the pits there, and Miku swiped across the front of that Racing Point car, gaining himself or putting himself up into the points paying position, or the final points paying position in the Grand Prix. Geordie is now into the pit lane again for his second stop, I do believe. I believe that's his second stop. Actually, it's his first stop, so he did stay out a very long time there, did the harsh driver. LRT Sterling now just went fastest, as we just saw 40 cut that second part of the chicane, but he didn't get a penalty for it. There was now 10 laps remaining in the Australian Grand Prix for the Spec F1 Esports PS4 Elite Series. He's now pulled out a 6/10 gap. He has 40. It's unfortunately not enough to get Darren out of DRS range. We have a couple of drivers going for Shaplili in the chat, so we'll have to see where he manages to go. He's currently sitting in P5 at the moment, is the Renault driver.
Certainly is. And I'm really interested to see, as John Polina's coming to the pits now, I'm interested to see where they come out, and in comparison to where Plevs has come out. So Plevs is in 11th here, and John Polina was battling away with him, so let's see where he comes out.
Will he be able to perform the undercut?
They're going to be rapid on these softs, but they've got a lot of work to do. They'll be able to possibly get up to sort of that 4th, 5th, 6th position, maybe. but it's a long stretch here.
So I definitely think, I'm not too sure about, I think, who was it, John Polite, I reckon he'll be able to get to the end, but Plebs is going to be tit for tat, to be honest. I know from experience that happened about an hour ago that it's very hard to do 11 laps on that soft compounded tire. So I reckon I pitted around lap 18, and unfortunately my tire's around 90% on that last lap, so it's going to be very hard for Plebs to get it to the end. He's definitely going to hope for a safety car or a potential couple of virtual safety cars just to save that soft compounded tyre to get to the end, but he does have Spilly right in front of him. So now all the drivers have made a pit stop in this Grand Prix. A lot of the top 8 are all on that medium compounded tyre. Spilly being the first driver on the softs, and it will be Plebs. Miku has opted to go onto that medium tyre. As you can see, contrasters went around the outside of Miku there, heading into the fast left-right chicane. So now the Ferrari driver got himself into P11, just completely swiped across Miku there, moving himself up into P11 there. Did the Ferrari driver, and he's actually going to get past again now. Is Miku. Is John Polite there? Made contact now. Has Miku and John Polite
in the air.
He did go up in the air, did it, Miku. So it looked like John Polite just closed the door there on the harsh driver, and Miku wasn't expecting it. Unfortunately, he did make contact. Does he have front wing damage? It looks like he does. Front left end plate for the harsh driver is missing, so unfortunate for him. Todsa is now into the pit lane for a a front wing change. So that number 40 Red Bull car has now come into the pits for a fresh set of soft compound tyres, so he'll be going to the end of this Grand Prix. 7 laps he will have to do on that.
It's just
soft compound tyre.
Not uncommon to see F1 cars flying through the air in Melbourne, but then we've seen it there again as that Haas got liftoff for a fair bit there, and that's an odd corner for you to see that as well. But he's definitely got some damage, and he's gonna have to manage it for the rest of the race, I think. And 40 is skating away here, still within DRS zone, Darren 11, but 40's doing a really good job to keep that gap. So
it's a little battle pack.
I'm really looking forward to the end of this race.
For the battle of P3, there's a little battle pack starting to form between Josh Aplili, Zach Grunt, and Dougie. So we'll have to see how Dougie goes as well, because he is on the freshest tyres out of anyone here. Obviously, the 2 VRC drivers of Josh and Chaplili are both on that hard compounded tyre. Zach obviously being on 14 lap old medium, so he's actually on older tyres but a softer compound, so he's going to be really struggling with tyre wear in this Grand Prix. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Dougie get a very easy move done here on Zach Ryan, but he is looking very good in this Grand Prix at the moment, is Dougie. After that unfortunate qualifying session for the Toro Rosso driver, he's looking good here for a potential podium at the end of this Grand Prix, as he is on the softer compounded tyre, but also a lot fresher than these other drivers, as Zach Ryan made a little error there heading into turn 3. We've seen him do it a couple of times in the qualifying session as well. He did lock up that inside front, and that's definitely going to be hurting him. He will be really feeling it towards the end of the Grand Prix. Definitely going to be hoping for a safety car right about now, or when he gets around to the pit lane, so he can chuck on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and he'll be absolutely rapid when it comes towards the end of the race.
Yeah, he's done well to recover from his spin earlier, and he could possibly get a podium here, but Dougie is going to really keep him honest. And if we're being brutally honest, I think those tyres are going to really drop off as Zach near the end of the race, and Dougie's going to overtake him here. And then there's a big gap between Dougie and Crossy. So Dougie, yeah, looking for a podium here after a poor qualifying by his own standards. Get himself on the podium and possibly give us a shoey.
We're going to go back to the front two now. As you can see, Darren just made a little error there through the final corner. He got right up to the rear gearbox of 40. He's now got that gap down to under 0.3 of a second. He did have DRS and slipstream available to him, but as you can see, 40 struggling there with traction through that second corner. He won't be able to get the move done here. Is Darren. He looked like he was going to get the move done heading into turn 1, but unfortunately he made that error through that final corner, and that affected his run all the way down that main straight. So now he's going to have to sit behind the Williams driver for the remainder of this Grand Prix. 40 will be looking for a little bit of redemption. If we flash back to the PS4 Pacific Series in the Australian Grand Prix, it was looking very good for a potential podium, but unfortunately spun it around at this corner that they are coming up to now. Very easy to lose traction through this next right-hander, or on that curb I should say. As you can see, Darren just seems to be a lot more confident under brakes compared to 40, but 40's getting a much better traction as now Todd's down. MP14 did go fastest with a 1 minute. Actually, I didn't even see that, but Bullet Boy and Miku are actually going at this for the battle of P12 and 13, and Miku and Bullet Boy made more contacts, and now the Harsh and Renault driver, unfortunately I didn't get much of a view of that, but it looked like Bullet Boy was fully sideways there, and Miku pushed him back facing the right way, so I'm not too sure what's happened there between the Haas and Renault driver.
Dougie's having a look at Zach. He's going to get it done. And this little train behind Josh is really closing up, but Dougie has got that done on Zach, and maybe those tyres are starting to really drop off now, and Dougie's going to race away here and try and catch up to these VRT teammates, or not even teammates, VRT
Zach's
drivers.
in the pits.
He's in the pits, yeah. They've dropped off, I think. And like you said, he wasn't going to make it to the end.
So definitely, he's actually going to drop a few positions here. He's going to go way back. He's going to most likely come out just in front of Miku, I believe. So he's going to drop behind Contrast, and then between Contrast and Miku, I should say, because there's all these drivers here are really close. There's a couple of battles going on track at the moment. As you see, there's one between race leaders of 40 and Darren. Then it's Josh, Suplili, and Dougie Falcons. That's the battle for the final step of the podium. Then Crossy is also now having to defend from Spilly. Plebs is also right there as well, but Spilly and Crossy are going to go side by side heading through turn 4. Doesn't get the move done, though he does the Racing Point driver. Spilly obviously on that fresher tyre. Sorry, they are on that softer tyre, and they are a lot fresher compared to Crossy. Crossy on 13 lap old mediums compared to Spilly's 5 lap old soft. So these drivers are going to be really rapid here coming up on Crossy. So all the drivers actually pretty much in this battle for P6 are on fresher tyres compared to Crossy, them being Spilly, Plebs, John Pline and Contrast, and Zach Crun, who is now just coming out behind Contrast, I do believe, now just ahead of Bullet Boy. As you can see, Samu's car, has disconnected car, or AI car I should say, has now been lapped. So unfortunate for the McLaren team, they're not going to be scoring any points at this stage. Well, on his side of the garage. Crossy's anyway.
Banking him up. He's banking him up, and he's not the type of guy who's going to let anyone get past and without a fight, and he's holding them off, and they are starting to light up. Oh, bit of contact there, and Racing Point just had to go a little wide, but he's defending for his life here, Crossy, and as I said, he's not the type of guy who just lets people go past him, and they're going to have to really work for it.
So now go side by side, heading into turn 1. Spilly trying to hang it around the outside. He knows that it is these tyres, or I should say Crossy's tyres are just going to keep falling off as they go, and I don't think Spilly's going to be really feeling the web. And now Plebs is going to go side by side with Spilly. Heading into turn 3, he's going to try and go around the outside. It's a Mercedes driver. Does Spilly give him efficient room? It does look like it, but unfortunately he's not going to get the move done heading through turn 4. It looks like Spilly's going to hold onto that position. Plebs was on the dirty line and unfortunately wasn't able to keep the traction going in that Mercedes car. He's going to have to sit back behind Spilly, but that's another reason that Spilly needs to get ahead of Crossy, because if Spilly doesn't get the move done very or soon, then Plebs and Jump Line are going to pounce, and Contrast is trying to catch up to the rear of that train as well. Zach Crun is also going to be on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. He needs to get ahead at least of one of these drivers. He needs to also go for fastest lap if he wants to get any sort of decent points. Well, they're not really decent on his standards anyway, but he needs to get as much points as possible. As you can see, Jump Line having a very nice run there on Plebs as they now head down this short straight. It doesn't look like Spilly's going to get the move done, nor is Plebs or Jump Line. He's actually trying to hang it around the outside now as Jump Line didn't get the move done. But Spilly is now putting a lot of pressure on at the moment on Crossy, as they are now about to start lap 26 of the Grand Prix.
Oh, nearly concertina effect there. So much pressure. You got to look at your mirrors as trying to get past it. That cost Jump Alone a lot of time, that braking into that final corner.
As you can see now, Spilly's going to get the move done by the looks of it. He's going to be forced to the edge of the track, and he's going to get the move done now on Crossy F1. So now he's actually going to have a nice traction here. It's Crossy F1, so he's going to try and hang it back around the outside. He's not giving up this position, but now Plebs has gone down the inside. Will he make a double move on Spilly? And Crossy doesn't look like he's going to get the move done. Just the right amount of move given there from Crossy, and they make contact now. Has Plebs and Crossy, so it's Plebs just got himself a bit of front wing damage. I think he has. Unfortunately, the Mercedes driver just rear-ended the back of that Williams car. I think he does have front wing damage. Looks like his right end plate is a little bit damaged on that Mercedes car. You see he's really struggling now. Jump Line is going to try and hang it around the outside of the Mercedes car. He's going to try and get the move done. Plebs locks in inside front, but unfortunately he's going to be nearly puts in the wall there. Did Plebs. Sorry, I'm stuttering a lot here, but now Jump Line is going to be back down the inside. Contrast is just sitting back here. He's going to also get back down the inside on Plebs. Plebs will not want to give this move up, but unfortunately he's going to have to battle with a little bit of front wing damage, I do believe, here. So looks like Contrast is going to slip down the inside. He did try and do the dummy. He's going to go to the outside line. Here is Contrast. He's going to swoop around the outside here on Plebs. Not the first move we've seen get done around the outside in this Grand Prix. Zach Crun's right there as well. He's going to try and get a move done on his teammate. I don't think Plebs will hold up his teammate too long here, as he knows that he does or is a little bit quicker, and Plebs is definitely struggling. He does have front wing damage by the looks of it.
I think we've got to go to the front. I think we've got to the front. We've got 2 laps left, and we've got 40 and Darren 11. Darren's closed that gap. It was a second. It was a second, and now it is right down, just off the track there as well. There's just so much action in this Grand Prix. We don't know where to look, but for the lead of the race, I think we have to stay here.
Oh, Darren.
As Darren's going to go down the inside of Lakeside Drive. He's going to get it done here. Wheel to wheel for the real lead of the race. 2 laps left.
It looks like he's got it done.
He's lost it. He has got it done. 40's just dropped off a little bit of pace there, and Darren. They've both got no ERS left. They're both using it. This is desperation stakes here. Both right off the grass. This is going to be a great battle to the end of the race, as now 40 will have the DRS to try and get a move done.
We'll have to see what 40 try and save a little bit of ERS here and try and pounce on that last lap. He got a very poor exit through that final corner. That's going to really affect him down the straight. As you can see, 0.6 of a second just on that corner alone between himself and Darren. That dirty air effect really hurt him as there's yellow flags through this next corner. I'm not too sure who this is for. It may be a lap driver, but while this little battle has separated a bit, it looks like Josh is going to have a lot of pressure at the moment between himself and Shaplili right behind this for the battle on the podium. It looks like Shaplili is going to try and get the move done. He's got no pressure from behind, but now Josh is going to swap positions here by the looks of it, and he's going to get the move done now. Is the Renault driver into P3. He goes, but he's run really deep, heading on the exit of the corner, and now Josh is going to go back down the inside and get the move done back on Shaplili. So now he's going to hold on to P3. It looked like Shaplili just got gifted P3 there from Josh, but then Josh decided to go back down the inside. Now Dougie Falcons is going to be catching up to the rear of this battle pack. He is obviously on that fresher set, I should say, of medium tyres. Spilly is now holding on to P6 ahead of John Polainen. Crossy is now dropped back behind John Polainen, I should say. He's going to be really feeling the tyre wear now on those 17-lap medium tyres. Zach Crichton's now 4-lap old soft tyres, but he's going to have to try and catch back up to Crossy is now. Darren is on his penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, 1.8 seconds now. So Darren's put out a massive lead in a space of 2 sectors between himself and 40.
Yeah,
so
40's struggling.
40 is struggling. It's only 1 lap tyre difference, but as you can see, he's really struggling on those medium tyres. He's obviously worn them out a little bit more compared to Darren. So if Darren can just keep it on track here, it looks like he will be able to bring it home. Josh is now still holding on by the looks of it to Shaplili. 0.8 of a second separate those two. Dougie's unfortunately not been able to get within DRS range. It's a yellow flag in turn, through the second sector. It looks like it's actually our contrast. No, it's actually not. I do believe it's might be another driver
around the outside of our contrast.
So yeah. I just saw that as well. So contrast has now been relegated back down to P11, so he's not going to be able to get back into. He's not going to be getting any points at this stage, so he's going to have to try and get ahead of Plebs. So that's Zach Ryan now making a move on Crossy F1. He's going to go down the inside, heading into turn 1. Crossy doesn't put up too much of a battle as there's not much point, as now Zach gets himself into P8 for the Grand Prix. I don't know who actually has the fastest lap, so I'm going to have a quick look now. It is actually Zach Ryan, so at this stage he'll be taking home 5 points for the Australian Grand Prix. That's definitely not going to be what he was after, but now 40 and Darren 11 are about to start the final sector of the Australian Grand Prix. It looked like 40 was a little bit stronger at the beginning of the second stint there, but unfortunately with tyre wear, it looked like Darren was a little bit better at doing that compared to the Williams driver.
Probably pushing a bit too hard.
Yeah,
probably
definitely.
Pushing a bit too hard, 40. And he's run out of tyres here. And Darren's going to coast away with the win, which is it's unfortunate, but this has been an amazing race. It just goes to show how close all of these drivers are. We're at the end of the race here, and they're all within seconds of each other. There is no gaps, and we've had battles all the way.
Darren Levin takes the win of the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Elite Series at the Australian Grand Prix from round 1. 40.22 is going to come home in P2 as well. Dougie Falcons now has got himself up into P3 after time penalty. So nice job there from the Toro Rosso driver. He's looking pretty good for driver of the day, to be honest. From where he started down in P11, getting himself onto the podium, 100%. He's looking good for driver of the day. Josh is now going to have to settle for P4 and Shaplili behind him in P5 after time penalties. P6 by the looks of it will be the Racing Point driver of Spilly. So nice result there from the 2 Racing Points in P4 and P6. John Polainen is going to come home P7 ahead of Crossy F1 in P8.
Zach.
P9 for Plebs and Renier top 10 will be contrast. And unfortunately for Zach Crichton, as you just said there, with penalties, he's not going to be getting that 1 point for fastest lap or any points whatsoever. So that's going to be a very unfortunate result there for him. So he's going to be taking home 0 points in this Grand Prix. Contrast will be taking home that last point. And then Bullet Boy will come home P12 for Renault. Then it will be Miku MP13. Coming up to the line now will be Sterling, who was looking good for a top 5 result, but unfortunately had that little spin heading through the second sector, and he is now going to finish P14 ahead of Geordie in P15. And Samu's lap car will finish in P16. Unfortunately, we had 4 retirements from the Grand Prix. I do believe Tots actually retired from the race. I'm not too sure what's happened. I didn't actually see what happened to the Red Bull driver, but I believe that is 4 retirements from the PS4 Elite Series. But very entertaining race there. As you see, just with the gaps and the difference in speed between the drivers, it was very close. But do you want to go through the provisional results here for the Australian Grand Prix, Ken Tenmar?
Certainly will. In a short moment, we're currently watching the podium. A couple of notable drives that I want to talk about as well is that Spilly was a very good driver, starting from the mediums. He's managed himself the entire race. We didn't have too much action from him, just kept it nice and quiet, and he's managed to get himself a nice bag of points there. And I contrast, starting from last after those qualifying penalties, managed to get himself a point into 10th. So an excellent drive from the back of the grid for him as well. But as we come up now, Darren 11 takes the win in first position, then 40. Dougie Falcons rounds up our podium. We have VRT Josh, VRT Shapalele, Spilly Jumpalainen in 7th place. Crossy, excellent defensive driving from him displayed today. He's in 8th. Plevs snuck into 9th, and as I said, I contrast getting himself 10th position, getting himself that point from last on the grid. So a great drive from my contrast today.
So that has been your Australian Grand Prix for the PS4 Elite Series. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are new around here, please do hit that subscribe button. We'd much appreciate it. And as you can see on your screens now, the social medias for RaceSpec. Our Twitter is at RaceSpec Esports. Our Instagram is race.spec, and our Facebook, RaceSpec F1 Esports. But my name is Expert. Thank you, Ken Tenmar, for joining me in the commentary box for this afternoon's race. But for now, we'd like to thank you, and hopefully we see you next time.
See you next time, guys.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side.